Celtic 4-0. St Mirren Oliver Burke's brace ties up a perfect 10th league win for hosts. Whatever disease is presently eating the turf at Celtic Park, it can be said with some certainty that it is not contagious. This 10th league assignment for Brendan Rodgers' men ended with what's long become a customary outcome. Another resounding victory. The perfect sequence was continued courtesy of Oliver Burke claiming a brace in his second game since moving on loan from West Brom, Scott Sinclair redeeming himself from the penalty spot, and Timothy Weah climbing from the bench to claim his second goal in as many appearances. Truthfully, the eventual margin of victory could have been anything. Burke may not have celebrated his first goal for Celtic with quite the same vigour as we did on Saturday, but, rest assured, the Scotland international will have felt exactly the same sense of elation. At 6 feet 2 inches, built like the proverbial brick outhouse and blessed with frightening speed, he has the tools to succeed in this game and then some. But works in progress aren't what Celtic need right now. They need strikers who score goals, even ones who nominally play as wingers. To that end, hitting the net for the first time since August 14 for the Baggies against Luton will have meant to earth to him and the man who brought him to Glasgow. His goals, a rather fortuitous early header and a well-taken rebound, were only part of the story, though. He played intelligently with his back to goal, linked the play and generally looked the part in a Celtic jersey. His doubters will given much food for thought. Sinclair too will have felt no little relief at consigning his penalty mishap against Airdrie to history. He looked back to something like his best here, his display underscoring the need for talent to be nourished with goals for it to prosper. That, together with Weah's shining cameo, contributed to a highly satisfying night for the Celtic manager. His side were never in danger here essentially because their application and intensity were unstinting. Hamilton, who come here on Sunday, must presently feel like a man facing an oncoming train. Rodgers drafted in Mikael Lustig and Christopher Jer for Anthony Ralston and Drake Boyata, respectively, but it was the fact that Scott Bain retained his place ahead of Craig Gordon that was most noteworthy. Without a league win here in 29 years, the prospect of Oran Carney creating a little piece of history looked thin at best. Ravaged by injuries, the Irishman was only able to name 5 substitutes. Vaclav Latke, Brad Lyons, Mihai Popescu and Greg Tansey all made their league debuts. Saints actually started on the front foot and saw much of the ball until pressing the self-destruct button 12 minutes in. Ethan Rahan's keenness to close down James Forrest came at the cost of a free kick on the Celtic right. From that point on the visitors were in trouble. Ryan Christie's in-swinger caught Saints cold. Burke wanted it most and flashed a header towards goal. Latke got not one hand but 2 on it. For the ball to then trickle into the bottom corner left the Czech entirely culpable. Not that Burke was about to offer any sympathy. 5 minutes later, the game was as good as up. Sinclair had cut a frustrated figure despite scoring twice against Airdrie at the weekend and looked purposeful from the off here. Floating between the static figures of Stephen McGinn and Jack Baird, he invited the trailing leg that came from the former. Referee Ewan Anderson pointed to the spot. Having seen the winger miss twice from 12 yards already this season, there was a nervousness about the home fans as he stepped up. They needn't have worried. The Englishman confidently struck the ball to Latke's right and it was now only a question of how many Celtic would score. The Buddies were already in a dark place. Even more so as the experienced figure of Lee Hodson was stretchered off with Jim Kellerman dispatched from the bench. Carney's side were also far too open. This allowed Celtic to play through and around them almost at will. Forrest started tormenting Rahan. One drop of the shoulder saw him play in Burke with the scorer rolling Popescu with embarrassing ease on the edge of the box. Callum McGregor ought to have done better than lift a gilt-edged chance over the bar. Sinclair's mazy run and strike was only thwarted by the frame of Baird with Emilio Izaguirre's curling effort moments later dropping just wide. Saints didn't do themselves any favors. Another Christie free kick found Lustig lurking in isolation at the far post. This time Latke held the header. As Carney made his way back up the tunnel, he must have wondered how it had all gone so wrong so quickly. Stephen McGinn did work Bain with a shot in injury time, but already it was about consolation. The traffic, predictably, flowed only one way in the second half. Burke claimed his second and Celtic's third with a calm conversion after Hladky had thwarted both Forrest and McGregor in quick succession. Sinclair was perhaps almost too selfless when he tried to play in Burke for a hat-trick when he could have shot himself. Baird hacked the back away for a corner. Burke made way for Timothy Weah to rapturous applause. The on-loan Paris Saint-Germain player struck the post with his first effort, albeit when narrowly offside, then forced Hladky into a fine stop after a driving run by Forrest. He's taken to his new environment like a duck to water. Sinclair worked tirelessly here, and you would not have grudged him his second at his curling strike after an electric run gone the right side of the post. With Christie walking a little gingerly, Rodgers gave 19 minutes to Ewan Henderson, and the midfielder enhanced his reputation. He picked a beautiful pass to take out the tiring St Mirren defence with 4 minutes remaining. In a carbon copy of his goal against Airdrie, we ran onto it and slid it home. It was no more than Celtic deserved.